Welcome back, everybody. Here's your current sit rep. When it comes to these type of videos, I've not made one of these for a while. Now, there are some reasons for that, but the main one being is these type of videos I'm not really good at making, and I don't fully enjoy them. I'll fully admit to the fact that I've tried to film this about 3 or 4 times now, and I failed within the first minute. But honestly, that's just how it goes. I'm not really used to making this style of video. Now, when it comes to the original aircraft series, it came out about a week ago now, I believe. I voiced my opinions in a live stream, but to be completely honest, I mean, it exists. I don't think it's anything special for 7. For 7, honestly, the problems that DLC had were from the ground up, and I didn't expect the DLC to be anything special. Honestly, a lot of the enjoyment I got from this DLC comes from the Cypher skin, and that's really about it. And when it comes to what I feel like needs to be done for the future updates, well, I'll get some things off my chest that I think need to be in the next few updates regardless, and I have an idea for some things that might not be so easy to implement, or I just don't expect. So when it comes to what I want them to add in the next update or something, well, I guess we'll just get into it. So recently I became aware of the fact that the skins in the US skin series were all reused from Infinity. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, I think Infinity had so many skins that it kind of isn't surprising. But I'm also a little confused because while, yes, they are from Infinity, you kind of neglected some of your planes for the US. Like, you only have it on Navy aircraft, and when it comes to... Well, okay, that's an entirely different subject. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, why only old stuff that really isn't all that special? It's reused assets. I didn't know that. Why not create something for the F-15 or the F-16 as well? Why not get real skins? Now, I don't know if they're going to do another US skin series. I doubt it. And I like the idea of having US aircraft, but I also like the idea of having Russian aircraft too. It'd be cool if they did that type of thing in the future. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I'd like skins for the F-22, for the F-15 that aren't Patriot skins, because those aren't really that... I don't like those skins. Me personally, I don't like those skins. I would prefer just having a normal F-15 with USAF markings and such. And DA-10 and all those other aircraft are included. Technically not the YF-23, because I don't know where those stand in terms of USAF. I don't think... They're not in service as far as I'm aware, so no, they don't have squadrons. But that's besides the point. I do think they should add skins for those in the future, or at least it's something they could look into. I know, and keep in mind, I am fully aware of the, well, mostly aware of the situation Project Ace is in right now. I know they're kind of screwed when it comes to their development, and that being said, I'm not going to be easy on them because of their history, but I will at least suggest some things that they should be able to do. And I don't know how many of these are in Infinity either. I imagine most of these are in Infinity, but I guess we'll just have to see. So, I think the first couple of things I can suggest that need to be added are, for one, the Strigan skin for the SU-33. I don't know why this isn't in the game. This is one of the most odd things to not be in the game. Now that you have a Strigan skin, this was the perfect update to add it with the CFA-44. Not only that, the Talisman skin as well. And if you guys have been watching my channel, you know why I want the Talisman skin, and to be fair, it should be in the game already. I don't think the F-15E has any special skins, and that's another aircraft you could have US skins as well. But I don't understand why Ace Combat 6 didn't get any skins. And you could probably have skins for, like, Windhover and Avalanche and all those squadrons from Ace Combat 6. Actually, I don't know that for a fact, because to be fair, I don't think Ace Combat 6 had specific skins for those. They might have even had Garuda. So that maybe not. But there are plenty of other skins that they can still add as well. For one, PJ. PJ should probably be in this game already. I mean, I know that the F-16 has a lot of skins, but so does the F-15. Honestly, I don't know why Cypher took such a long time for them to add to the game. That just seems odd because, and I'll get into this too, but Mobius 1 and the Rosgrees have been in the game for, well, the Rosgrees have been in the game since launch. Mobius 1 has 2. And this is the next thing I'm going to bring up. I think every VR skin needs to be added into the game. And I mean the M2, the SU-30 M2, the F-18, the Mobius F-22, and the, I forget, A-10. The A-10. All those Mobius skins, the IUN Mobius skins, need to be added. Why are they not in the game already? That does not make sense to me. You have 4 good skins that you could add at any time and you're not doing it. Now, a little probably less reasonable, or maybe not less reasonable, but less likely is that the VR missions get added to single player or to non-VR. I wish that would happen, because I don't have a VR headset and I would still like to play those missions. My guess is if they did get added, they'd be changed slightly, because those missions don't have a lot of enemies. I have at least played them, but not, I don't have a way to play them consistently. I know that they would probably be very easy in normal gameplay. So I would like to see them be brought to single player, but I don't see it happening, so that's unfortunate. And speaking of adding things to single player, this is another idea I have that I don't think is going to happen. In fact, I don't see it potentially ever happening at all. But you guys probably know, and in fact, you definitely know if you looked around my channel at all, I'm a remix guy. I remix a lot of stuff. Now here's the thing. I have played through some of these missions using Spotify. You can use Spotify to play some Ace Combat music. Now, Ace Combat 4 and 7 don't have music on Spotify. I don't know why those are taking so long to be put on Spotify or any service. Streaming service? I don't know. I don't think streaming service is the right word. But any app. Those aren't on any app, 4 and 7. But despite that, the point I'm making is you really should be allowed to choose your music for missions. And I know that sounds odd for Ace Combat. I don't think that's ever been done before. I know in Infinity the tracks were random, but I think they were random. But the missions, you couldn't choose the music that you wanted to hear. And I do think that should be changed. Now, how hard would that be to implement? I have no idea. In fact, I think there's still problems because in multiplayer, if you paid attention while playing, and I have, I don't know, I'm not sure a lot of people might not have, some of the tracks have the incorrect loop. They don't loop right, and that's odd to me, especially since you can just find those videos on YouTube. Now, one of the things I'm going to say here is, using Spotify to play through these missions, a lot of the missions, in fact, almost all the missions are longer than the actual tracks, so, like that you might want to play on those missions. So, you're going to have to loop the track from the very beginning of the track instead of, like, it being extended. Which, it'd be nice if those tracks were extended, but what I'm getting at is, allow us to choose our tracks for the mission. And the place I get that from is the fact that this is a 20th anniversary title, technically, although it's also the 25th anniversary, but this was supposed to be a 20th anniversary title. Now, let me pull from another game experience. In fact, with Fractured Fates, I've gotten some of my ideas from this series. Let's pull from the Sonic series. Sonic Generations, the 20th anniversary title for Sonic, had a bunch of different stages. Similarly to VR, each stage they were pulled from different games in the series, each generation by generation. There was a Sega Genesis era, there was a Dreamcast, and there was a modern, which is basically PS3 and Xbox 360. Each mission or each level had a track made specifically for that level, or 2 tracks because there were 2 acts, but remix tracks of the old levels. But there was also a ton of tracks in the game that you could choose for any level. You could basically change the music of the level if you didn't want to hear that bass level, and you could choose from a multitude of tracks from previously in the series. Now, it was really only 3 per game. Some tracks only some games had 3 per. Most of the games were like side games from previously in the series that only had 1 song or something, basically one-offs. But the point of getting it at is, why is Sonic the only game to allow us to do that? And I understand I might be sounding a bit ignorant here, because I don't know how hard that would be to do, and I don't expect it to happen. Again, I don't expect either of these things to happen, but that would be neat, and I think that would be really cool and add some replayability to missions that don't have a lot of replayability because of the way this game is. I mean, you don't have allies helping you, which kills any replayability from that perspective. You can't give them different planes. Nothing changes between missions. 5, 0, and 4 have a lot of replayability for those factors. This game has none of that. So it kills that replayability factor, and I do think it's possible. I know multiplayer randomizes the tracks, and so I have some of them, but not all of them. Like, honestly, Annex would be a great song for Mission 2, and so would Imminent Threat. It'd be cool if you could choose your tracks, and I don't know I don't know if they are technically, I don't know, like, the legal specifications. I mean, I don't think it matters, because they have the people who compose those tracks still working for them, as far as I'm aware. I don't know any of that stuff, but I would assume that they can just pull those tracks. It wouldn't be that difficult. I imagine the only difficult thing to implement would be the actual menu to make that possible. But I still think that would be a cool idea. It would definitely add a lot of replayability and make the game funner in musical regards. And I would hope you play with music in Ace Combat, but, teach their own. Now, I did mention multiplayer, and there are a couple of things I would like to mention about that, and also Emblem Creation. Well, not creation, but I don't expect emblems to get a dramatic fixing or whatever for this game. I know emblems are pretty much been dead in the water since Infinity, but we have the same style, but that style does not work. Basically, one emblem. You can only choose one, which doesn't make sense because you're not a mercenary in this game. You're flying for a country. And you only have one emblem per aircraft that you can choose to take off certain parts, having that emblem on it. But you can't have country emblems, you can't have markings. Now, I don't expect them to allow more markings and more customization. I think that's long past. But I think it should be at least allowed that you can choose more than one emblem. Or rather than take certain... This is really hard to describe. Rather than being able to take the emblem off of certain parts of the aircraft, let us put the emblem we want on each part. That way there's at least some reasonable amount of customization. And also, add the emblems in that aircraft have that are your allies. And I'm talking about like the white background Erusian emblem and the Ocean flag that are on Ocean aircraft. But besides that, I don't see emblems getting fixed anytime soon, and it's not expected. They built it to basically fail, but it also renders the first 3 skins on basically every aircraft pointless because they look dumb without any proper emblems or markings. Now, another thing regarding multiplayer is, and multiplayer is probably going to be the last topic I delve into, this game has had the most empty and boring multiplayer I've seen in an Ace Combat game for years. I don't think any Ace Combat game has had this poor of a multiplayer. Yeah, no, maybe Joint Assault if you want to say that, but I don't think even Joint Assault did. I know Joint Assault had co-op, but we need something to fix multiplayer, and I think there are some rules that also need to be changeable in multiplayer, because it's just not fun anymore. So I think the reasons, or the things that need to be changed for multiplayer is there needs to be more rules that you can change certain aircraft that can be banned from lobbies, I mean. and certain maneuvers, if you know what I'm talking about, being disabled. But besides that, more modes. And I'm not talking about co-op. I know co-op's not going to happen. I think everybody knows that at this point. But add more modes. And if you can, I don't know the logistics of this either, add more players to modes, possibly. Or add AI. Actually, that might not work because of the co-op thing. I take that back. That might not work. I think you need to make the battles bigger. But again, I don't know if they can get AI to work. Other companies have. But apparently Project Aces can't, so whatever. I'll let them go on that one. When it comes to rules you should be allowed to change, I think you should be allowed to edit almost really anything. Or at least down, that's really broad, I know, but down to at least a few minor details. First of all, let us change the prices more varyingly. The price ranges now are a little restrictive. I mean, they can make sense. They basically tier it's basically like super low tier aircraft, and then like low to mid range, and then mid to high range is basically 2500 is mid to high range, and then unlimited is just bonker. I think what you should be allowed to do is you should be able to remove missiles as like standard missiles and special weapons if you want. I know coming from a personal perspective that might seem like me wanting the advantage, but I mean, this is for things that you should be allowed to change. So you can turn off any type of thing. You can turn off guns, you can turn off missiles, and you can turn off special weapons. That being said, you should also be able to turn off post-stalling. Please let us turn off post-stalling. Like, I know there's probably a lot of people out there who think the post-stalling is this great thing that completely changed Ace Combat and improved everything about the dogfighting. I disagree. I think it destroys the fundamental dogfighting of Ace Combat. I don't think it needs to be killed for good. Don't get me wrong. But it needs to be fixed, first of all, and a lot of people don't like it. Me, for one. I've gotten good at it, but that does not mean I like it. You should be able to turn it off in lobbies so that you don't have to deal with it if you don't want to. I don't understand why this isn't in the game, because it makes modes like 2500, 2250. If somebody chooses a postal aircraft, they can dominate without any repercussions, basically rendering things like the F-15 useless because they can't post-stall, especially aircraft that have EMLs like the F-18, the Su-33, which are both low to mid-tier aircraft. And yeah, I know I'm speaking a little bit gibberish. I'm having a hard time explaining this, but I think you probably get the fundamentals of what I'm trying to say. When it comes to modes, I can't give complete assurance of what I want. See, I don't know the extent of the modes that Project Aces can do, because they seem to be so against the idea of co-op and that they can't get AI to work. Now, I would think that adding like a naval fight mode or something along those lines wouldn't be too difficult. But if you can't add modes, you should at least add larger TDMs and larger battle royales with more players, or at the very, very least, add more maps to the game. Nobody cares about spoilers at this point. I don't think spoilers was even a problem, because I think that's one of the reasons they said that they couldn't have more maps, is because they didn't want to spoil the game. We're past that point. Nobody cares. And to be honest, I think there are a lot of fun map ideas you could do. If you want to bring back maps like B7R, you could, although I don't expect them to do that since B7R has basically been forgotten. But bring more maps into the game. All you gotta do is take them from single player. And you could do really fun things like you could have the underground in the space elevator be one of the arenas or something. That could be super fun and could definitely change up gameplay. And as I said earlier, allow us to ban certain aircraft. And for example, the MiG-21, which breaks 2,000 cost limit matches. You basically can't do that price range, because if you do, it's just going to be the MiG-21's winning, because that's a stupidly overpowered aircraft for that price range. And I've never understood that, but that's the way it is. You should be allowed to ban certain aircraft. I don't know why this is a foreign concept, because a lot of games do that, where you're allowed to ban certain things in certain lobbies, or your own lobby if you want to shake up the gameplay. I think it's even reasonable to say you should be able to ban certain parts. And to be honest, ban certain special weapons. And I know I'm being a bit harsh here, but there's a lot of meta in Ace Combat that kind of ruins the fun of the game. And honestly, I don't prefer playing on special weapons lobbies. I prefer playing on standards because I feel like a lot of special weapons ruin the gameplay. EMLs and TLSs shouldn't even be in multiplayer. Now with EMLs, they're still overpowered. They're still broken as shit when it comes to the multiplayer. The difference is, with TLS, barring a couple exceptions, because people always bring this up to me, the TLS is virtually useless. And I'll say virtually because it's not technically universally, but it's virtually useless. There's no reason to ever pick it, and that goes for both single player and multiplayer. I don't get why the TLS has been neutered in every game it's been in since Ace Combat 0. And I don't expect this to happen because it's not impossible. Modders have shown it can be done, but I know Project Aces won't do it. I think the TLS needs to be removed from multiplayer, or heavily restricted in multiplayer, and completely buffed 100% in single player. But that also goes for the MPBM, and I don't know if there's any of them, to be fair. I think those weapons need to be buffed 100%, more than that. I mean, honestly, the MPBM needs like a 3 times as large blast radius, at most, I guess. And a lot more damage. I mean, the damn thing can't even destroy a single aircraft if you don't... I don't even know how to get it to destroy a single aircraft. I know, I have a video in the past. I don't know if it might have changed, it could have, but it can't destroy a single aircraft with a single blast. Maybe that's changed, I doubt it. It was a Harrier, from what I remember, but it needs a bigger blast radius, far, far, far more damage. And the ADMMs, I mean, they're not going to work the way they are, so it's not even worth really saying to fix it, because it can't be fixed, and I didn't expect them to work anyway. And I don't think the ADMMs have any way to work in Ace Combat physics and engine, especially if you're going to balance everything around multiplayer. And I know for a fact multiplayer has different properties as well between weapons, but I don't know. And I also feel like I'm coming from an older generation of pilots where I still see those fake weapons, or rather more leading fictional. I know railguns technically exist, but though not on aircraft obviously, but I'm still in the older generation, I guess, where I see those weapons as cheating in multiplayer, and I don't think they should even be in multiplayer. I think they should still be super overpowered in single player. But now pulse weaponry, pulse lasers, are more effective than actual laser beams that in previous Ace Combat games could completely destroy anything to touch. I mean, have you tried sorting the souls with the Excalibur? The Excalibur? No, the Falcon. I mean, it's basically a mobile Excalibur anyway. But have you ever tried that? Because I have. It's really fun. You could never be able to do that in 7. And I know you couldn't do that in Infinity. And Infinity probably had a more powerful TLS regardless. But I don't remember that. Anyway, I don't expect those things to happen, so don't come at me too hard with those. But I think you should be able to disable special weapons at basis level. Well, not disable, sorry. Ban certain special weapons, but still leave them on. I don't get the idea of not being able to ban certain weapon types. Many games have done this before. It's very simple. So, I think that's the bare minimum. I think the bare minimum of what they need to do for multiplayer is add more maps. But you gotta give multiplayer something. It has been dead in the water since launch. Now, look, do I expect any of this to happen? Barring the skins. Maybe, well, maybe not the Mobius skins. I don't see those coming out either, even though they should come out. But do I see these things happening? No, not really. I don't see any of these things happening, and I'm just a small little measly YouTuber who probably won't get more than maybe 50 views on this video. Now, that being said, I still would like these things to come, or at least be in the next game. Although I don't have high hopes for the next game if it's on Unreal Engine. I don't think this game has the right engine, to be completely honest with you, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to keep using it. Now, I do have a friend that has been modding somewhat as of recently, and from what he's explored from this game, it does have many issues. I mean, honestly, one of the things that you might notice with US Skin Series, and honestly any textures in this game, is a very, very, very low resolution. They have a very poor texture quality, and it's quite pathetic compared to PS2 titles that have almost the same, if not better, texture quality from even a distance. But this game is fundamentally flawed, and it has a lot of issues simply because of the engine it's on, based on what I've seen and what I've heard. Of course, I don't think using the engine as an excuse to make a shitty game, I don't think that's an excuse, and it has been used as an excuse, but we waited how many years? Around 12 years for a continuation of Case Combat, and I would have expected more, but all of this being said, I understand that Project Aces are in a bad position, and when it comes to, well, I don't know if they're in a bad position anymore, but I know they were. And obviously with everything going on in the world right now, they probably are still in a somewhat negative position. But honestly, the bare minimum I'm asking for is give the SU-33 the Strigan skin, give the F-16 PJ skin, which shouldn't be difficult. It's not that different from any F-16 skin, to be honest. And just port the skins from VR into single player. I don't get why that's a problem. I mean, I have said that they should put the... I did say earlier that they should put the VR missions in single player, but I don't see that happening. That's fine. But put the ION Mobia skin in the game. Why is it not in the game? And honestly, you still have a bunch of nicknames and emblems... Well, not emblems anymore, fairly, but you still have nicknames locked behind... you still have nicknames locked behind VR. And the other thing is... I forgot to mention this when I brought up emblems. What happened to emblems having music play? I mean, you guys might have noticed when I do my remixes for multiplayer, which, to be honest, are a lot of the time just for me to show off. But I usually put the music around what I'm using for the victory. I don't understand why that isn't a thing anymore. Infinity had that right. Emblems have even less value in this game than Infinity, because Infinity already had markings on your aircraft, and you were already a mercenary, so as I said, it didn't matter. But you remove the value of emblems having music, which means they're completely valueless, and there's no reason to get them. Now, that did not stop me from 100% completing the game and getting every emblem. But give emblems value again, honestly. Give them music for winning the round or being MVP. I don't see why that'd be too tough. But regardless, I think I've said my piece. And honestly, a lot of this I feel was at least somewhat necessary to get off my chest. Again, as I said, I haven't done one of these videos in a while. And I probably won't be doing one anytime soon. When it comes to the videos I'm working on, the series I'm working on, trust me, we're going to be continuing it. Well, I mean, I'm making the videos, but we will continue it. We've already gotten ahead in a few missions, and we technically have to balance the writing and the video making, or I do, because I write the missions. But besides that, the next one coming up, I think you guys will like. There's a stream tomorrow, and I hope you guys enjoy that. So, stay frosty, and the price is right. Good day, or good night.